can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous. Oh my God, now they all look jealous. Brand new drip, hope they all got umbrellas. Y'all don't fit in, call them all Cinderellas. And I heard your last shit, dog, you can do better. You ain't got shit on me, homie, that's facts. I just bought a new crib, I buy another for the tax. We ain't in the same league, we ain't in the same brackets. I ain't made a joint yet, they already know it slaps. Now I need the dollars. Got a new girl and she look like Madonna. Found a new flow and it's hot like the sauna. Buying these stocks, I don't care about designer. Tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous. Tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous.
Staying high with the mace, tipping wine to the face. Drowns hit me from the door, it's a line at the place. I'm at home in the mitten, I got ties in LA. I probably pull a packed crowd in a flyover stage. Lies spread quicker than the truth. If you always talking about me, they know more about you. Worry about to set the rest of on the place. If they don't pay me to respond, then I gotta walk away. B&B, elevation high, laying low. I'm with the 10 who's down to f***ing cook me shit I got from Trader Joe's. Say they making moves, but we making more. I stay in the zone, y'all just staying broke, way to go.
Tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous. Tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous.
Yeah, Ray Lake State and we make waves here. Running the point, I make plays like Shakespeare. Every day I make it a great year. So every year I feel like the day's near, yeah. Whole catalog made from a home stew. Quick scroll through like shopping at Whole Foods with the fresh produce. My shit is a whole mood. AEI, I don't owe you. Danny wrote through scoop. Yates alley-oop me another go-to. 2 video shoots, gotta look cute. Get my brand coupon, it's a lot of stunt doubles and they
tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous. Tryna play me, they ain't no better. Perp on me, you can call me Chris Webber. Brand new whip with the brand new leather. And now I make plays, so they all look jealous. Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a extreme, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, man, we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin is just still in its range here, guys. Are we going to ping pong around here forever? Are we ever going to make it up to the value area high, which we all know is sitting at around $89,500? That was the level we were looking at yesterday. And actually, guys, we were looking for that pullback for a little bit of a scalp short position in the premium Discord yesterday. We looked at it on the live stream, looking for that 4-hour red dot 15-minute to give us a little bit of a pullback. However, that was in the context of a potential another bounce to the upside based off the 4-hour money flow. We got that little drop down for that scalp short, and we did get the bounce from our Golden Pocket 786 retracement. Are we going to be able to see a bigger move up here? Are we going to go sideways forever? Are we going to make it to the value area high? I'm going to break it down all in today's live stream, and hopefully Bitcoin does something, so even if we're wrong, we can at least look at different candles. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching here tonight. There's a lot of things you can be doing with your Tuesday night, but you decided to spend it with the best trading community on YouTube. So shout out to the Mafia. We got Bison in the chat. We got Ken Barkoff said, hey, Frankie from Panama, let's go. Let's go. Shout out to Ken. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you in here. We got Uncle Jesse, our like police, guys. Don't forget to smash that like button. If we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream, we will be giving away this dead AA off-brand battery, guys. This is actually a rare off-brand AA battery. I think there was only about 100 of them ever made. So yeah, we'll be giving these away if we get 1,000 likes on tonight's live stream. I'm just kidding. We're going to give away some free crypto, guys. But shout out to Satoshi Stacker in the chat. We got Donato Cabrera. Welcome in, bro. Dropping that candle in the chat. Let's see. We got Brain Feeder in the chat. Hey, what are you feeding your brain, bro? Shout out to Brain Feeder. Welcome in. We got K Diggity shouting out. Phoebe in the chat. What is going on, K? Welcome in, bro. We got Pennywise, everybody's favorite clown, French Toaster. We got Buddy. We got Osgun. I never know if I say that right. Shout out to Cade. Cade Mac in the chat said Wednesday morning for me. Shout out to Cade. Oh, man. We have a time traveler in the chat, guys. Shout out to Cade. Welcome in, bro. And guys, don't forget to show our mod some love. We got Darren Delsings, Crypto Anon, Rob the Crypto Snob, Tyler Dirt, and Chemistry, bro. You guys know who they are. Captain Kirk, Crypto Billy, Dave Digital. You guys know who they are. Show them some love in the chat. And no volume. Market is dry. Okay. Shout out to English for Bees. I thought you meant no volume, like hello. I was like, oh god, this dang technical difficulties be chopping us up all the time. But yeah, we're gonna take a look here, guys. I'm gonna try to see. Jackson Heights, Queens. Shout out to Newbie. Welcome in, bro. Shout out to the fellow New Yorkers out there. But yeah, we're going to take a look here, guys. I'm going to try to break down the price action. However, we are pretty much, we're not too far away from where we were yesterday, but we're going to break down the key levels. I'll talk about kind of the level that we bounced off of. Are we going to get a continuation through this range? And I want to talk about specifically some key levels of resistance above. Obviously, you saw the thumbnail. We have a key level of resistance that we're approaching. Are we going to be able to break out? I think if you watch this show, you know exactly what level of resistance we're talking about. Are we going to be able to break above that and get a bigger push up? I want to talk about that because we do have a plethora of levels sitting above, guys. It's honestly kind of a muddy situation, right? Because we have like a ton of daily naked points of controls. We'll break it all down in today's video or live stream. I don't know why I said video. Shout out to Gen Z. And without further ado, guys, Jay Violet's in the chat. Let's go. TA on Soul tonight, please, sir. Shout out to Crypto Storm. Yeah, we will take a look at Solana. I don't think we took a look at Solana yesterday. I think we missed it. I went on a few rants last night. But yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look at Solana as well. Poster says, you in New York? I'm in CT. I used to live in New York. I don't live in New York anymore, but I am from Long Island, the longest of the islands. By the way, guys, if you ever refer to Long Island, you got to say that person lives on Long Island. You live on Long Island, not in Long Island, right? You live on Long Island. That's the thing. A lot of people say, oh, that guy lives in Long Island. It's on Long Island. But anyway, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and check out the charts here and jump on into it. Frankie Wen Moon, shout out to Lewis. We're going to talk about Wen Moon right now. All right, so let's take a look here, guys. Obviously, yesterday we were looking at this same exact range. Actually, one sec, guys. Let me pull up my face cam here. I just want to make sure. Okay, I'm just going to make sure I have some stuff open here. Bada boom. Where's my exo charts? Okay, there we go. All right, boom. Let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Take two. Let's get it. Okay. All right, let's take a look here. So obviously, guys, we have been kind of bing-bonging around in this range. We kind of grinded our way up here. We kind of wailed around inside a little bit of a local range here. This is where I am holding that long position here from the low. Still holding that long position as it is continuing to pay us out here. Looking for that full fill of the range into the value area high, which again, guys, I did move this slightly. I pulled this to our current price action. It doesn't really change the level that much. This value area high was at about $89,500. Pulling this range all the way to our current price action does move it down slightly to about $89,322. However, 89.2, 89.3, 89.5, pretty close, right? If we come up there and wick, we'll probably hit 89.5 anyway. But just, that's really like one of the only updates we have here on our key levels. But obviously, guys, within the volume profile, yesterday we were hitting our head on this golden pocket, which made us look for a potential pullback here. However, we were not just bearish here, overall saying, oh my God, we're going to get a massive move to the downside. But more specifically, guys, we came into this golden pocket. We knew, based off the laws of the volume profile, right? We get above that low. We hold that POC. We're going to be looking for that continuation up into the profile and through targeting the value area high. And as we came into this local level of resistance at the golden pocket, we did get some kind of bearish confirmations up here. And we were looking at this yesterday, right? We had the 15-minute money flow crossing into the red or coming out, right? I don't know if it was crossing into the red exactly while we were on stream, but we did have this 15-minute money flow coming out. We even looked at this on the market update yesterday that I dropped earlier in the day. We had the 15-minute money flow coming out. We also had our 4-hour VWAP coming down, looking for a potential red dot. And then on the live stream, we were talking about, hey, if that red dot does wind up printing and that 15-minute money flow crosses over into the red, we may be able to get a little bit of a push to the downside. And we were looking for those scalp shorts in the premium Discord, and we actually did take it. And we did wind up getting the drop to the downside to some of our key levels that we had down below. Let me see if I can pull these up. And guys, I made the mistake of messing around with my mouse sensitivity here. But if we go ahead and pull up those scalp levels here, you guys can see we did look to take that short position here as we were retracing into a golden pocket, local golden pocket retracement. We got, again, we talked about this recently, guys, not shorting at the lows, right? Waiting patiently for that little retracement to the upside into our golden pocket. And I did fire on that short position as we had the 15-minute money flow crossing over or looking to cross over into the red with that 4-hour red dot. And we were looking for a little bit of a cool off. However, we were looking at this in terms of a scalp position, not necessarily a gigantic dump to the downside. And the reason for that was because if you come on over to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that our money flow was in the green, right? So we were just kind of looking for the red dot to give us a little ebb or flow to the downside, because remember, the money flow always indicates the overall trend. The red and the green dots indicate the ebbs and flows in the market, right? It kind of indicates the little downs, a little ups, down, right? Up, down, up, right? That's the green and the red dots where that money flow is more indicative of the long-term trend. And that is kind of why we were looking to hold our long position from down here for a continuation through the profile and how we were able to capitalize, right? Like a lot of times, guys, I come up here and it's really hard because sometimes like I might be talking about a lower time frame and talking about how, hey guys, I'm looking for a short position, and people are like, why the heck are you looking for a short, bro? We're trending to the upside. But it is all in the context of the overall plan, right? We knew if we were going to get a little retracement down here, we were probably going to catch support over here on the Golden Pocket 786 retracement. Why? Because our 4-hour money flow was coming into the green, making us anticipate the overall trend continuing to the upside, right? We're looking for lows, highs, higher lows, higher highs, and potential higher lows for another higher high into the value area high of the range at $89,322. However, we are kind of getting a little bit more resistance here. So what is going to happen there? I want to talk about that a little bit. But yeah, just kind of talking about that, right? Because again, it's sometimes hard to talk about like, hey guys, I'm in a short. That does not necessarily mean we're fully bearish. And I tried to cover very explicitly last night that we were going to be looking at that as some kind of a scalp position, right? Or just not that we were talking about the exact trade on the live stream, but just looking for that correction to the downside in anticipation, very rightfully so, of a potential higher low coming in before getting another move to the upside. And that did obviously come in on our Golden Pocket 786, right? So I just like to show this, right? Because if you're looking at Market Cypher B, if you're trying to learn how to read these markets, it's very important to understand context. You could catch these nice little scalp positions within the context of the overall trend, but you have to be able to identify like, hey, I might take the short here, but I'm going to be locking in profits and moving my stop loss pretty early in anticipation of just getting a little bit of a retracement for a potential higher low and a continuation up. And again, although we did not come up and break the high at least just yet, we know that not only will we be looking for higher lows and higher highs, but we also have the target here of the $89,322 value area high, which does tend to act as a magnet for price. Clearly not a strong enough magnet for today. So, this is still just generally the next target to the upside. Again, this was $89,500 yesterday. I just continued to pull this volume profile all the way to the current price action, giving us that little bit of a lower level. Now, obviously, guys, if we are finally going to see, and again, the journey to the value area high, guys, sometimes is very confusing and annoying, right? We don't always just get a move from the value area low, flip the POC, and go right up to the high. Sometimes it is a little bit more of a journey. You come down, you bing bong around the POC, you come up, you come down, maybe you retrace a little more, but eventually you do oftentimes get sucked up towards that value area high of the range. So that is going to be key level number one to the upside if we continue up. We were last week we were looking at this golden pocket. We finally came up to there. So I'm actually we're continuing to reject this level, guys, but I'm just going to clean up the chart here and take that golden pocket off. It's important to understand that it's there, but I just kind of want to clean up the chart here because from a simple standpoint, guys, we are just within this volume profile. So, very naturally, as long as we remain above this POC, the doorway to that value area high is definitely open. Now, you guys know we've been looking at a couple of ranges here. Not only have we been looking at this local range, but we've also been looking at a previous volume profile that kind of ended over here, right? We had this little larger range forming up here, and I stopped that fixed range volume profile at this point where we broke down. And this value area high does come up a little bit higher. Same one we looked at yesterday, sitting at about between about, I would call it $91,000 all the way up to about $91,300. We have not only the value area high, we also have a 786 and the golden pocket retracement that we're rejecting right now. So once we get above this golden pocket, guys, I will say this, right? This is not the key level that I'm talking about on the thumbnail. Must break this level. This is just local levels. If we get above that golden pocket, we could look to be pushed up towards that POC of the range, which again is very confluent with our current range value area high. You can see that in all of its glory, right? You have the POC at 89.5, and then you have the current value area high sitting at 89.322. They're basically the same level. If I turn these on and off, kind of flash them together, you guys can see that POC pops up right here. And then if we start to deviate outside of this range, guys, this is the next key level of resistance, right? Very simply put, I am looking between the value area high and this 786 Fibonacci retracement. It is sitting between 89,250 and about 91,200. Now, not only do we have the 786, the value area high, and the POC of our previous range, however, we also have the upper value area low of our larger range, right? This is the big thing, guys, and I actually want to take a look at an indicator that I have not looked at in quite some time on Market Cypher A. Let me know if anybody can guess what it's going to be. But the value area low here, again, like this whole zone, guys, not only between these two value area levels, right? The value area high, the value area low, 786 POC, right? I'll pull that POC up one more time, right? POC sitting right here, 786 and value area high sitting here, as well as that value area low of the local range, or not local range, but the macro range up here. Very, very key level of resistance. Not only a potentially strong level of resistance, but also a very important level, guys, because if we break above this level and flip that value area low to support, I want to say this could open up the door for a bigger rip to the upside, potentially targeting our next macro level of resistance, sitting between the POC / golden pocket retracement, starting at, I would say, about $96,200 all the way up to the top of the golden pocket at about $98,000, right? And it's not just the golden pocket POC, guys. We have a lot of other levels in there. We have 2 daily horizontals. I believe we also have a daily naked point of control. We have daily naked point of control up there. But as I bring up some of these other horizontal levels, guys, you can see how intense the resistance is once we get back inside this range, which puts us in a bit of a sticky situation. And, you know, as we are typically in this situation, long from the low, right? We long those value area lows, long from below the value area low in anticipation of filling that range in full. So that'd be nice to see that long position continue to pay us out all the way into that value area high. However, once we get up here, guys, sure, flipping this level would be a really, really good sign, in my opinion, for a potential, because once we get accepted into this value area, we could potentially start our journey up to the POC, flip that POC, maybe even look to go towards that value area high. But I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here, guys. You kind of know where I sit on the higher time frames, and you could kind of just see here, guys, when we start bringing up those naked points of controls and the daily horizontal levels, I believe there's even like some weeklies up in here. Like, there is a ton of resistance inside of this range. So it would be really nice to see price kind of wiggle its way up here. And again, we have some work to do. We got to get above the local range high. We got to get above the value area low. But once we push up in here, guys, we kind of just run into more resistance, right? If these levels were not here, right, this would look a lot better, in my opinion, right? This would just be like, hey guys, it's still a doorway to higher prices, but I would say very cautiously bullish if we get in there, right? Because if there was no resistance up there, we could potentially look to flip the value area low, and at that point, if more of our confluence was up here, we could look for a bigger retracement or a bigger push through the range into the POC. That would be the next very likely target. Once we flip that value area low at about $91,000, we could look for that POC, the journey to that POC at about $96,650 begin, right? And it would be a very high probability target. The problem here is it's a little bit of a muddy situation because we have a pocket of daily naked points of control sitting right here. So I'm just going to give you these levels numerically. This is sitting between about $92,443 and $93,230. So, you know, amazing, right? We do still have a lot of work to do. If we can get up here, obviously, you know, value area low could be key resistance until proven otherwise. But once we get up in here and we start pushing to the upside, guys, you're going to run right into these 2 daily naked points of controls. And then if you're able to get above there, you could run into the daily, right? This is another key level of resistance. And then that's probably going to give us some turbulence. If we get above there, you're just going to run into another daily naked point of control. And then, like, there's just some really, really consistent resistance on the way up here. So if we do get up, listen, is it possible to just snap through all these levels? Sure, right? Absolutely, especially if we start seeing a liquidity, a short squeeze, right, or a liquidity sweep. You know, you could potentially get a quick move up, but I want you guys to understand there are key levels here. And let me just pull up exo charts real quick here. I want to pull up the daily naked points of controls because I do believe. Let me go to a higher tick size here real quick. Yeah, like even on a higher tick size, these 2 daily naked points of controls are still here, right? So at the end of the day, I'm going to break this down into like the local levels and the higher time frame levels. And then kind of like I'm going to kind of classify these as like separate than long-term or local. It's just like the situation we're in is just like super muddy up here. And again, it doesn't mean we can't slam through the levels, but and we will be, right? If we get into this value area, we will be looking for scalp short positions off of these key levels, right, in the premium Discord. But we understand, right, when we're actually taking the trades, we understand, right, if we take these scalp positions, we know that if we come down, it's like, hey, you're coming into key support, right? So if we do wind up shooting all the way up there, you know, key resistance, we could always be looking for little pullbacks, but I would kind of classify that, you know, until proven otherwise, right? And depending on what the charts look like when we get up here and how, you know, we interact with these levels, is it a huge liquidity sweep up there? Do we come in, like, play around with the levels a little bit? It really depends on what happens up there. However, I would classify that very similar to the short position that played out beautifully last night, right? We would be looking at that potentially as a drop to the downside in anticipation of support below and a potential bounce right after, right? So if we do wiggle up there, right, and we get some bearish confirmations up here, which, you know, we would be open to taking shorts, but we understand that we would have to kind of classify this as a scalp short position into key support. I would probably be locking in some kind of profit here. If we do wind up breaking down, we'll be able to hold a portion of that for a bigger drop to the downside. But again, we'll have to reassess the situation once we get up there. If we come up there and there's no bearish confirmations, well, hey, we're still holding a portion of that long position, and no bearish confirmations, then we'll just hold the long position for another move up. No bearish confirmations at the daily, beautiful. We can look to get sucked up towards that POC. But I really hate I'll be honest, I really do hate that all this resistance is here. I really wish that was not sitting there because it would be such a more clear view of what is going to happen next. But with all this turbulence above, we have to be very, very careful. So I'm going to go ahead and hide those daily naked points of controls, and I'm just going to break down the levels that I'm looking at right now. Current range, very simple. I'm just looking to stay in here, right? We could potentially fall into a situation where we come up here, get accepted back into the range, come back down to the low. This would be brutal, right? It would just be another, oh God, man, these ranges are absolutely ridiculous, right? Like that would, depending on how fast we got down here, like another month of sideways price action would be absolutely brutal. We've already been inside of this range for about a month, right? It would just be like, 36 days, depending on how quickly we came in, back into the range and back down to the low. But this is a potential situation, right? Like if we do get up there, like just from a trading mindset, I'm going to be looking for shorts at the high. Again, we have the purple box here as resistance, 786 value area low. As key resistance above, you have the value area high of your local range. And very simply put, once you get above that value area high, we could potentially be looking at that as an overvalued asset based off of the relative price action, right? And we could look for that return into the low. If we do not get that, right, if we do not get any bearish confirmations, we will hold the long position, sit out on the shorts, and wait to see if we can get a flip of that key level of resistance, right? Or flip that key level of resistance into support, which is that $91,000 value area low. And not only that, guys, it is also the 786 Fibonacci retracement. So if we were going to continue a downtrend here, right, this 786 might be the area to do it at, right? And then once we get above that value area low, you're flipping a value area low to support, which could open up the door for a move to the POC. And then we'll also be above that 786, which would invalidate a lower high situation, which would also call for our move to our next level. And this is just kind of simply what I would look at. Like situation number one, get up into our value area high, looking for the bearish confirmations, looking for shorts up here. If we get them, we'll take them back down to the low. If we don't get the bearish confirmations, we'll look to flip that value area low to support, in which case we can look for that long to continue paying us out to the POC. That is the clean situation, right? Those are like the two clean scenarios. However, it's, in my opinion, very unlikely to play out beautifully like that just because of all those key levels of resistance that I just brought up sitting up here. We have to be careful around those daily naked points of controls, which again, that would be, if we did not have a situation where we had this as a value area, right? If I just deleted this value area, let me just get rid of this real quick, right? If we did not have this value area above, right? This would be a little bit better of more of a clear short setup, in my opinion, right? Because then you're just looking at this as like, hey, we don't really have a value area above, right? That's not the case, but we're just pretending here. We could deviate above the high and then, put some bearish confirmations, hit that resistance of the daily naked points of controls to get accepted back into the range. But with the fact that we have that value area low sitting here as well, we have to be careful to flip that to support. So it's a little bit of a sticky situation. I am currently schlong, guys. I'm not going to lie. It sounded dirty, but I am in a long and a short. I'm in the long from the low. I'm also in the short from yesterday. I'll be honest with you guys. I made a little boo-boo, not really catastrophic. I thought I had moved my stop loss to break even. I had my stop loss set, but it's actually above this high. I thought I had it at break even. I've already taken profits on that short position, but technically it's still open. And again, I would probably put a little bit more confidence at this point, probably in the push to the value area high, which is fine, right? Because I'm holding the long for much lower. So long from the low, short from this high. But if I had to make a guess here, right, I would say I wouldn't be shocked if that short gets stopped out and the long continues to play out. But again, I would get stopped out in profit at this point. Actually, I didn't move my stop loss yet, so I can't really say that just yet. But I will move my stop loss in profit. If we rip up during the live stream, I'll probably get stopped out for like break even because the loss that I'll take will kind of even out on the profit that I took probably. But, just based off the volume profile, guys, I'm going to see if we can hit that value area high. That would be really nice. If not, we could just continue to look for a continuation of the downtrend. But again, guys, like even if we come down a little bit more, you guys will know the first zone of support that we were looking at yesterday was sitting right here between 86,742 and 86,152. But that's the first Fibonacci retracement. But if we lose that, right, if we wind up coming back down, if this is going to be like a local lower high for another continuation down, we do still have some key levels here, right? You have the 786 sitting down here, but that's, I'll bring up the more key level here, which is going to be the golden pocket retracement. And I believe this is confluent with an anchored VWAP, right? Yeah, so we have the anchored VWAP, the golden pocket. So if we do continue down locally within this range, without looking at like all the macro levels, we could potentially, like if we just get stuck underneath here and continue down, and we'll be looking at this golden pocket anchored VWAP sitting between about $85,684 and $84,350. If that does happen, I would potentially be interested in adding to my long position because, again, guys, when we look at the higher time frame money flow, like the 4 hour, Right now, it's kind of flat. We're technically making a lower high, but it's not really like we have any kind of significant bearish divergence. You might be saying, Frankie, but what about that lower high on the momentum wave? Well, we do have a lower high on the momentum wave, right? But we don't have a higher high on price, right? So there is no bearish divergence. And again, with the magnetic value area high level here at $89,322, I do think there is still a chance to come up and tap that level. So simply put, if we do wind up, let me just hide this, right? If we do continue down here locally, right, short will continue to play out down to the golden pocket anchored VWAP. And then even if we lose that golden pocket, we could potentially come down to the daily naked point of control /786 Fibonacci retracement, which would be another kind of area where we could have a possibility or an opportunity to put in another higher low before continuing up through this profile. It's very, very hard to call right now if we're going to come up here, if this is the higher low before continuing up to the value area high, or if we're going to come down to this golden pocket, or if we're going to come down to the 786. But any of these levels are valid, in my opinion, to continue this uptrend, right? You know, I'm not a big trend line guy. However, you know, if you just draw this out, it would be a nice place to come and put a higher low in. And then you even have the POC down below as well. So these are kind of the key zones that I will be looking at to either add to my long position. In my personal situation right now, I'd be looking to add to the long. But if I was not already in a long position, I may be looking for scalp longs down at those levels, right? Because you'll maintain that higher low market structure. You know, you have your high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? And then targeting the value area high. So key target to the upside, $89,322 locally. If we continue down here, I will be watching 85.7 to 85.4, right? See if we can get a bounce there, lose that. 786 daily naked point of control, another area of confluence, not just a random level of support. These both have some kind of confluence, right? This anchored VWAP would also be very nice to hold above, right? So like if we lose this anchored VWAP golden pocket and we bounce off the 786, it's going to be very important that you get above this anchored VWAP here, which by the way, right now is sitting at about $85,700. So again, I don't know if we're going to bounce off that just yet. I'd have to assess the situation as we come down there. But overall, like kind of the just situation that we're in, we're still trending up here locally, right? And money flow is still in the green on the 4-hour. 5-hour money flow is still in the green, right? We have the 6-hour, come on, green dot printing with money flow coming up. And this is a pretty fresh money flow crossover into the green. So, you know, medium time frames would say, doesn't mean you can't pull back just like yesterday, doesn't mean you can't pull back, but the trend overall is more likely to continue to the upside based off our money flow, you know, alone, right? 8-hour money flow crossing into the green. We have our 8-hour green dot printing, and you guys know what I'm about to do. I'm about to jump down to that 30-minute time frame and check out our money flow on the 30-minute, which honestly is doing the opposite of what we would want, right? Now, it's not like we're getting a red dot on the 8-hour with a money flow crossover on the 30-minute, but if we had that 8-hour green dot printing with a 30-minute money flow crossover into the green, that's where, right, we see the 30-minute money flow crossover into the green here, right? When that's in context or in confluence with an 8-hour green dot, we anticipate that continuation of the trend to the upside. So a little bit of a mixed signal there. We got the green dot on the 30-minute, but the money flow crossover into the red. Kind of choppy, right? But that's fine, right? Because we're not really looking for trades in here other than yesterday. I saw the setup. I took it right before the live stream, and it wound up playing out beautifully. But if we don't see the setup, right, like I'm just sitting on my hands. I'm holding the long from lower and the short from up here, right? Probably closer to like up here. So I'm just sitting here letting things play out, but pretty simply, we're just within our range here, right? And I will just hide some of this stuff just to clean up the chart. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'll have the anchor VWAPs. But that's just pretty simple, right? Like this is simply our golden pocket of this entire impulsive move, right? We got started getting pumpy right here, pull from the low to the high, golden pocket sitting right here. Does give us an opportunity if the continuation down happens, we could potentially put in the higher lows and then a higher high from there, which would maintain, again, our higher low situation here. And even at the end of the day, right, we stay above that POC. Like there's really no reason, right, that doorway to the value area high is open. Now, if we lose that POC, that's where we might just get the full continuation down to the value area low. But I will say, guys, it's not often that you just front run a value area high like that and then come all the way down for a full fill of the range, which is why I am open to bounces here if we do come down. Doesn't mean we can't just nuke down here to the value area low. It's definitely possible. It's just not very common, right? Like the probability of that is low, but low probability does not mean 100% not going to happen. So, you know, but right now, like personally, I wouldn't really be looking for a trade right now. I'm not looking for longs here. I'm not really looking for shorts here. I'm already holding the short, honestly. And the long positions, in my opinion, were to be had much lower, right? And if you weren't taking longs on these lows, you would want to be looking for longs down here. That was the last chance. That was the last time we were looking for longs in the Discord, unless they were looking too long the higher low here. So yeah, not too bad. I mean, if we do continue down, it's really nice. We caught the long from the bottom, took profit, locked them in, and then even if we get the bigger move down, we're short from the top, lock in some profit there, maybe add to the long position for the bigger continuation up. And to be honest, is it possible, guys? We took a look at the higher time frames yesterday. Weekly green dot potentially looking to print here very soon. This will be nice. This is not printing just yet, but this is the signal to watch. If we get that green dot on the weekly, guys, these don't come around a lot, especially when you have your momentum wave below the zero line, right? So we have the momentum wave below the zero line, VWAP coming up. This gives us a pretty high probability of, unless we get some kind of fake out here, which obviously we always have to be prepared for, but at the end of the day, right, like we don't get a lot of these, especially in a bull market. You know, you only come down below that zero line a couple of times, right? Like we get the big move up, right? You come down here with the bullish divergence. That was the low of the bear market. You come up, first cool off brings you slightly below the zero line, green dot, bada boom, right? And I'm not saying you just want a long green dots, but this is another deviation below that zero line, green dot, boom, deviation below that zero line, green dot incoming. And not only do we have the green dot incoming, but you guys know we were watching that bullish setup on Market Cypher B with the green dot on the weekly and a potential money flow crossover on the 10-hour. This is fighting for its life. This might bing bong around a little bit. Like I said, you know, the higher time frames do take some time to develop. So we really want to see that green dot print. It's not there until it's there, and it's really not there until it confirms. So, you know, even if we printed it right now, we still have about 5 days for it to confirm. So you could see it flash and then just completely delete, right? It'll just flash and then disappear. So we really want to see it confirm, but that's what I'm watching. We want to get that green dot on the weekly, and in my opinion, that's our best bet if we want to see this retracement up continue, right, in a significant way. Right? If we want to see this retracement come up into some bigger levels, then we're going to have to, get that green dot on the weekly. But the way it was looking, it looked like it might want to print, right? And then you have the 4-hour money flow in the green. You have the 6-hour money flow crossing over into the green. You have the 8-hour money flow crossing over into the green. 8-hour money flow crossing over into the green, and the 10-hour. And that weekly green dot with the 10-hour money flow crossover is a Market Cypher B116 strategy. The same strategy that we looked at to catch this short to the downside. Right, just on different time frames. This was the 4-hour, 15-minute strategy, and obviously it doesn't give you that massive a move, but I actually talked about this last night on the live stream. It gives you the 4-hour, actually no, I think I talked about this in the premium. The 4-hour, 15-minute Market Cypher B116 strategy is great for like little day trades. Sure, maybe that day trade turns into a little bit more of a continuation down, but it's great for like little moves like this, for like little day trades, in and out, grab your bag, set your stop loss to break even, take your money and run. But on something like the weekly, right, when you get a weekly green dot with a 10-hour money flow crossover, sometimes it will give you a much, much bigger move to the upside. And I could try to see, like, the last time we got a big money flow crossover. And another thing here, guys, I'm not saying that you can't spend a lot more time in the red here on the 10-hour, but I will say we've been in the red for quite some time here, right, for 48 days. It might be time to get a little bit of a pop to the upside. Now, is that pop to the upside just going to get faded back down? We'll have to assess the situation if that retracement continues, right? This one got faded down, but it still gave us a big green wave and a nice little continuation to the upside. And I actually just want to see this. We'll backtest this. 10-hour money flow crossover. Was that on a weekly green dot? It was. It was very close to this. It's not going to line up perfectly because it's hard to find it in hindsight. Maybe it wasn't actually that perfect. Let me see this real quick. Yeah, not really. It wasn't really that good of a setup, or at least that confluent of a setup. Maybe this one. Let me see here. Yeah, so this is a lot more like the situation that we're seeing, in my opinion, right? I'm not guaranteeing that we have all-time highs incoming. Obviously, I've been very transparent about that. Hopefully, we can have all-time highs come in. But, you know, we have to assess the situation when we come up to some key levels, and I will bring those up in a minute. But you can see green dot on the weekly as you have that anchor wave, or I wouldn't call this an anchor wave, but your momentum wave below the zero line. Green dot prints. What's your 10-hour doing, right? If I see that green dot about to print, I'm like, well, let me see what that money flow is doing, right? It's the same thing. It's like multi-time frame alignment. When you have a weekly green dot, obviously green dots on the weekly give you some kind of significant move. Even this green dot, right? This green dot give you a big move up. This green dot obviously gave you a big move up. This green dot obviously gave you a big move up. And when you see these green dots, a green dot on the weekly is likely to give you a big move. However, the money flow crossover indicates the overall trend, right? The money flow crossover is going to call the massive move. But the green dots just call the ebbs and flows, right? Green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot. So when we see that green dot on the 10 hour on the weekly, we come on down to the 10-hour, and I'd be looking at this, and we probably were at the time, being like, well, hey, money flow is starting to cross over into the green here. This might not be bad. We might be able to continue our trend. Doesn't mean you can't cool off, right? But overall, you're continuing the higher lows and higher highs for that bigger uptrend to higher prices. Now, what would I think that looks like if we do see that play out? I wouldn't necessarily instantly call for all-time highs because, as you guys know, we have a lot of key resistance above the levels that I just talked about. But more importantly, guys, just looking at this as raw price action. Let's assume we see the weekly green dot and we're just like, well, hey, this is pretty nice. We have a weekly green dot. Maybe we could see this continue up. What would I be looking at as like just simple, very like basic key levels, right? Well, let's pull from our high to our low with our Fibonacci retracement. And you can see if we're going to put in lower highs and lower lows in a much bigger way for the overall trend, the macro trend to continue down here. And the 2-day might be potentially pointing towards that if this money flow does not come back into the green. If 2-day money flows in the red, we have to be looking at the pumps as a lackluster retracement to the upside to put in lower highs and continue to the downside, right? Breaking structure, potentially targeting our next key levels of support between $72,000 and $70,000. We have some other levels as well, right? But if we're going to be looking overall, if this happens, right, this is going to take some time to play out. We got to make it all the way up there. We have to make sure that the bearish signs are here at the golden pocket for the lower high and the lower low. But this is a situation that we're in on the 2-day. Right? So if that weekly green dot prints, sure, we can get excited for the push to the upside. But if that 2-day money flow is going to continue out, it might just get faded back for a lower high and a lower low. And really the big key level here, like $97,000, right? Golden pocket retracement. If we're going to get that full Fibonacci retracement into the golden pocket, that's where that would be. So once we get up to that golden pocket, if we're lucky enough to do that, right? Because remember, we have a ton of resistance inside of this range. A ton, right? Now, I have that marked out as key resistance already, but you start looking at the daily naked points of controls, you start looking at the daily horizontal levels, etc. There's a lot of resistance on the way up there, right? So there's no saying that we're guaranteed to come up to that golden pocket. We might reject more of a local golden pocket retracement. Maybe it's this golden pocket we're rejecting right now. I would prefer to reject off the $91,000 value area low 786. So I'm just going to mark these out very simply. High time frame levels, we're kind of rejecting one right now, but the next key levels of resistance to the upside, very simply put, 786 value area low. And I'm not even going to talk about like all the confluence. Obviously, this is going to be a value area high of our previous range as well, but just the visible levels on the chart right now. Value area low, 786 retracement. If we get above this golden pocket, we would expect this level to come in. However, it's going to be key resistance. So that is sitting between, I would call it 91,000 to 91,000. 786 is about 91,000, like 91,135, right? So that's the next key level. If this trend continues up, whether we come down, put another higher low in, and then continue up, or we just yeet on top of this golden pocket right now and come up, this is the next key level. We've talked about this forever, right? 91,000 to 91,150, right? Get above that. The next real macro key level of resistance is going to be the POC macro golden pocket. However, again, we have to be careful around these local levels, these daily naked points of controls. But overall, like on the higher time frames, like the more significant levels of resistance, in my opinion, would be sitting there. $91,000 if we don't reject here, right? Because if we're just looking for a lower high to come in based off the 2-day money flow, which again, the reason I would think it's a little less likely here is because we have that weekly green dot coming in. So I do think there's a good chance that we could see this continuation up. But I just want to point out that like we're not out of the danger zone just yet. Even if we come up in here, right? Not out of the danger zone. And even if we come up here, we still might not be out of the danger zone. We have to watch this higher time frame money flow. If we come up and this money flow is continuing out and we're about to print a red dot on the daily, I'm going to be looking for shorts up there. It's going to be hard to guarantee if it's going to give us a lower low on the higher time frames, right? Breaking that low that we have here at about 76,000 or 75,800. But we have to assess the situation as we come up there. But those are the key levels. I would say if we're going to get a bigger continuation to the upside, which is possible based off the 10-hour money flow and the weekly green dot, next key levels, 91 to 91,150 or 91,135. Above that, we're looking at about 96.5 to 98.8, right? Right here in this zone. So have these levels marked out on your chart. Locally, hopefully we could break out, right? Hopefully we get that move to the upside. But I just want to keep everybody in the context of like money flow could still be coming out here. Hopefully, if that green dot prints and that 10-hour money flow drags us back up, hopefully we can see this 2-day money flow come up in a big way. Right? If this money flow comes back into the green, we can assume that maybe that was a fake out and we can push above that golden pocket, POC, and then we would simply be looking for the value area high. And then once we get above here, this is probably where I'm calling for new all-time highs, right? As, you know, we'll be able to see early warning signs, so we'll be able to look for it a little bit earlier. But, you know, we really need to break this level and flip it to support. Because once you break that 786, again, just breaking out the just simple Fibonacci levels, right? I'll even get rid of this. I'll even get rid of this right here. Bada boom, right? if I'm just looking at this from a Fibonacci standpoint, well, hey, guys, if we're going to get a full retracement, we could look for $97,000. If we flip that golden pocket, we could look to the 786 at about 103. Once we flip that 786, the idea of the lower high coming in, we would look for the lower high between the golden pocket 786. Once you get above that 786, hey, invalidation of that lower high and a higher probability of a continuation to the upside. But to see that happen, guys, we have to assess the situation as we get up here. It's all, like I've been saying, like ever since we came down here, if we get the bigger retracement, which it looks like we are starting to get, if we get that bigger retracement, all eyes on these fib levels, all eyes on the high time frame money flow. If this is not coming up as we approach, we may be in for a little bit more turbulence, which nobody wants to see, right? I'm not rooting for this. I hope this does not happen, but it is definitely in the cards. And I just got to bring what's on the charts, guys. I'm just the messenger. We're bringing up what's on the charts, and we do get it right more than we get it wrong. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at on the higher time frames, right? Like if I didn't go live for another month or two, right, I'd be saying like, hey, guys, could be a possible scenario. We have to reassess the situation here, right? And then we wait for it to play out. I would go live again, be like, hey, guys, let's assess the situation. And we would know, with some kind of certainty whether we were going to get a bigger rejection or not. But yeah, those are the key levels to be looking at, 100% in my opinion, on the higher time frames. And then again, locally, we're just within our range, which is really nice to see. Yeah, continuation down here. So I guess my short, it kind of paid out not to move my short, that I didn't move my short to break even, because I would have gotten stopped out. Wouldn't have been bad. I would have gotten stopped out in profit, but I guess we're still going to have it pay out a little bit more. But let me pull up the chat here. I abandoned you guys just a little bit. Let's see. Oh, God. Chat is flying right now. Shout out to Northern Michigan. Shout out to you, bro. Northern Michigan Movers. Do you own a moving company? Let me know, bro. Shout out to you, man. Weekly Green Dot is indeed about to print. We actually just talked about that. I assume you just tuned in. We actually just covered that. And not only is there a Weekly Green Dot printing, but it's also confluent with some lower time frame money flow that could indicate a continuation up, which is bullish, right? Like people always say, Frankie, are we going up or down? Are you bullish or bearish? That makes me bullish, right? For some kind of continuation up. But it doesn't just instantly mean, in my opinion, not that anyone's saying this, but it just, for me personally, right, that would make me feel bullish for a continuation up over, maybe the next week or so, or maybe 2 weeks. But it does not necessarily mean instant all-time highs. We have to be really careful around those key levels of resistance, sorry. So there you go. I do own a moving company. Shout out to Northern Michigan Movers. Shout out to you, bro. Let's go. I don't know how I guessed that. It's like, I don't know. Shout out to Northern Michigan Movers. Interesting. Shout out to you, bro. I wonder how is the moving company business? Get some trucks? Get some labor? What's the overhead like? Other than like the trucks? Maybe some office space? Interesting. Is it lucrative? Hey, Northern, you want to go into business together, bro? No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to Northern Michigan Movers. Let's see. What goes up must come down. Yes, absolutely, guys. Like, just because that weekly green dot is printing, I just want to be clear. I do not necessarily anticipate an instant rip to the upside. For that, we have to go down to the lower time frames. And, in my opinion, I would expect some kind of turbulence here, right, until we come up in here. If we're going to get a bigger retracement down, I would anticipate it to come up in this level. But if we get little pullbacks in the meantime, right, like, I mean, I guess you could probably even draw this as like a just kind of like a parallel channel, right? Like, right? I wouldn't necessarily call this like a bear flag, right? This would be like a huge bear flag. It's like a super long bear flag. But yeah, like depending on how you would want to draw this, right? It's like just some kind of like come to the lows, back to the high, back to the low, back to the high, and you're just kind of ranging around. We tap the high, and we did just put that lower high in on a golden pocket retracement, right? Pull from the high to the low. Where are you looking for a local lower high, right? Golden pocket 786. This is like almost exactly how we found that short position yesterday, right? It's like came up into the golden pocket 786, we shorted it back down, and it wound up paying out. So there you go. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, so short's up about $1,000 right now, 660 up. Pull this up real quick. And yeah, I even checked this before I went to bed yesterday. I'm not gonna lie, right? Like before I went to bed, I was like, oh, okay, let me just make sure I have my stop loss set. And I did have my stop loss set. I just like didn't read the actual number and realize that it was up here, not on my entry, right? Usually when my stop loss is set, is usually before I go to sleep. I'm like, oh, it's set to break even. Yeah, but it's nice because I would have gotten stopped out. Now this is continuing to pay us out. But yeah, so. Yeah, up about like $900, almost $1,000 on that. So not too shabby for a little scalp. But again, I would say 4-hour money flow, 8-hour green dot, 8-hour money flow. Like we're starting to see this money flow cross into the green. So I would anticipate maybe some turbulence here. But again, watch those local key levels that I just went over. If you just tuned in, go to the beginning of the stream and check out those local levels because there are some levels here, right? Just naturally, just looking at fib levels, right? From the low where it got impulsive to the high, 85, 550. right? I'll actually just pull them up here. And I'm going to get rid of this, right? Because I'll just hide it for now, right? Because we did bounce, but it's still there. And 786 was not tapped. There's that short entry. Just hide this, hide this, hide this, hide this, and we'll hide that, right? So if we do continue down, right, golden pocket, this is pulled. Come on, malwares, get away from my face. But yeah, from the low to the high here, golden pocket, and again, anchored VWAP as well, confluent with that level. So if we continue down locally, these will be the key levels. 786, 86,196, golden pocket, sitting between golden pocket anchored VWAP confluence, sitting at 85,684 and 84,350. Lose that, 786. Daily naked point of control is the next level. So it's kind of hard. I wish I had a crystal ball. Some people think we do. We definitely don't. I swear. I swear. Anyway, but yeah, if we do continue down, right, I'm watching that 7.8. This is an honorable mention. We already kind of bounced off that retracement. We front ran the 7.86, but really if we continue down in a bigger way, we break this low. I'm looking at that golden pocket, 7.86. Looks like the bigger zone would look something like that, between 85,684 and 84,642. Could look for a potential add to the long there. And again, I mean, this even lines up with your low parallel channel, right? So come down, back to the bottom of the channel. You have key support, daily naked point of control, bada boom. And then if we come down here, I do believe there's a CME gap down here, right? So if we did slip that 786, I'd be okay with that, like short term, right? Like a little bit of a wick down here. That wouldn't be that bad if we just get like a little, come on, give me a straight line, a little, okay, it's getting worse. It's getting worse, right? Just a little rip to the downside here. Tap that POC, fill the CME gap. But it is confluent, right? So you have your CME gap, your 786, daily naked point of control, this whole zone with the POC as well, right? Remain above that POC. Look for that potential continuation up to the value area high. And sometimes we do, guys. Like sometimes you do see that volume profile, like give you, or the rotation through the volume profile, give you like a decent bit of turbulence, right? Let me get rid of this channel. Get rid of that CME gap indicator. Where's it at? Where's it at? Bada boom, right? So, like, technically, like, even if we came all the way down, right, and just held this, doorway's still open to the value area high. It's not until we lose the POC where I'd be expecting to move down to the value area low. So you have a decent bit of support here, right? And money flow, again, would be pointing towards a continuation up. So it's okay to get those cool-offs. I would still be looking for higher lows and continuations through the profile. The volume profile, more often than not, does give you the move that you're looking for, right? And I'm trying to find, like, another scenario where, like, maybe you come in. Yeah, like, I mean, even here, if we come on down to a lower time frame, right, like, you start losing the POC, you start bearishly retesting, right? We kind of already did that. We broke above the POC. We bullishly retested it. But, yeah, I would just be taking this. This is what I'm looking at as far as the context of the market. As long as we remain within this range, I'm expecting this volume profile to get respected, right? If we come up here, I would be looking for shorts for potential rotation back down. If we don't get the short setups, we're looking to flip that $91,000 level into the bigger range. If you missed the general analysis on what I just mentioned with the upper range, go to the beginning of the stream. We covered everything in detail, and that's where I'm going to leave it, guys. Not too bad. Not too bad. This is pretty similar situation that we were in yesterday. Let's see. Shout out to Wick589 and Wick's wife, Fine89. Welcome in, guys. Good to see you. Shouting out K Diggity. Let's go. K Diggerton. It's almost like Franklin Templeton. But yeah, let's see. Mads and Lizzie said, would like to know what in the heck happened to Sats today. We could try to take a look. Shout out to Mads and Lizzie. G65 said, I told you pull the parallel channel. Yeah, shout out to G65. Yeah, it's pretty much just bing bonging around inside that channel for sure. But yeah, that is pretty much, whether you're looking at the parallel channel, I'll pull it one more time, bada boom, right? Something like that. Whether you're looking at the parallel channel or you're looking at Fibonacci retracements or you're looking at golden pockets, right? Like, this is what I always say, right? Like, regardless of what you look at, right, or however you have your channels pulled or whatever you look at, right, is oftentimes explained by other forms of analysis, right? So it's like, well, how would I have known if I was going to, how was I going to know if I was going to reject here if I wasn't looking at, whatever it is, right? Like a pattern or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, right, like there's a lot of things that would point to the same level, right? Like, what are we rejecting here? Are we rejecting the top of the parallel channel, or are we rejecting a golden pocket, right? And I guess the answer is whatever one you want to look at, right? It's like whatever makes more sense for you, right? And the fact that we've kind of been grinding up here, I do think the parallel channel makes good sense to look at. But like, a lot of people, I would recommend not chasing, right? Looking at every single thing, right? Like, should I be looking at the patterns? Should I be looking at the parallel channels? Should I be looking at the Fibonacci levels? Should I be looking at the value areas? What should I be, moving averages? There's so much stuff out there. What should I be looking at, right? And like I always say, too much information is sometimes bad information. So whether you're looking at this as the top of the parallel channel, or you're looking at this as a golden pocket retracement, or you're looking at it as a local PLC, or what have you, right? Very likely, one of the things that you're looking at, like it's going to be explained in some other form or fashion. So just don't worry about chasing, like looking at every single form of analysis, because again, that's how your chart's going to wind up looking. I try to keep my stuff as simple as possible, which in a situation like we're in right now is low-key very difficult, right? Like if I want to look at all these key levels, right? It's very hard to like not have all your key levels here and like kind of looks muddy. But if you start looking at like a ton of moving averages and like now you start pulling up the anchored VWAPs and then you start looking at the macro resistance and you're like looking at all this crazy stuff, the chart becomes a mess, right? And then like you don't really know what you're looking at. It's like, should I short this level? 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 And you start to just like everything mushes together. But a lot of times it is important to look at all these key levels, but this is why I organize things into these folders, right? Because there's no need to muddy up the chart the whole day, right? Or the whole time that you're looking at it. You could kind of just be like, well, hey, let me see. I have a golden pocket here. Now let me pull up my parallel channel. Oh, cool. The parallel channel is up here too. That's some nice confluence. Beautiful, right? Now let me look at the anchored, the Fibonacci retracements. Oh, good. We have the golden pocket. Now let me look at this. And you can kind of stack that stuff on top of each other. But being able to easily turn it on and off within these folders is super, super helpful to keep your chart nice and clean. And I always revert back to the volume profiles because that's just how my brain works, to be honest with you. It's just like what makes the most sense to me. So if I have to keep things simple, I'm just looking at this as like, hey, if I'm not concerned about getting looking at every single little tiny up and down, I'm just looking at this as like, well, hey, we're holding the low, we're above the POC, I'm expecting to move to the value area high, whether we come down first, up, down, wiggle around before we get there. I'm just looking at this overall. That's still a very high probability level to get hit, in my opinion, right? Not a guarantee. But yeah, regardless, I always bring this up with like ICT. Shout out to ICT. I don't know if you guys know who he is. I think he invented fair value gaps. I don't even know. But he's like a big smart money concepts guy. Maybe he like invented that strategy. I'm not 100% sure. But like a lot of people, his concepts seem to work really well. And a lot of people, the way I've talked about this many a times, like I think the way he trades or like his concepts work are like once you get like a break of structure, you wait for a retracement into a fair value gap. And then like that's where you would look to say take a short position. So you wait for a break of structure and then a retracement into a fair value gap. And then that's where you would look for your entry for a short, right? So but for me, right, I would be able to find this exact same setup, and it doesn't make my way better or his way better or anyone's way better, right? It's just a different way to look at the charts. For me, you might think to yourself, well, like, I'm not looking at fair value gaps. Like, how would I know if that trade's going to be there? Very likely, right? If I were trading this, I'd be looking at this as a volume profile. And low key, right? If I were trading this, I would very likely be in my short position from the top of the value area high, right? Because that's where I look for shorts. So you could argue, right? And I would argue, potentially, I would have a better short entry because I'm shorting high, right? But it's a little bit more risky, right? You argue that waiting for a break of structure and a retest is a little safer because you've already broken market structure. So there's a trade-off there. However, it's the same thing, right? If I didn't catch this short position, where would I look for my next short position? I'd wait for a deviation below, right? And then if money flow is coming out, etc., and we retrace into the value area low, this could be key resistance. If there's no bullish confirmations down here to look for a long, for a ride back into the value area high, I could be looking at this as like, well, hey, maybe I have a golden pocket in confluence with that value area low, right? And if that golden pocket, we'll just pretend that it's like perfectly confluent, right? If I were looking for a short position, I'd be waiting for a retracement into the golden pocket value area low confluence, and that's where I would look to take a short potentially, right? So it's not pushing. Is it pushing into a fair value gap? Sure. Is it retesting a Fibonacci retracement and a value area low? Sure. Does it matter which way you look at it if you're seeing the same information? In my opinion, not really. Some things might just stick with you a little bit more. Some things might stick with other people a different way, right? For me personally, volume profiles are, in my opinion, the best way that I found the best success with the volume profiles, right? And I would argue it is a safer short entry. This is very similar to how I entered my short that I took that I'm in right now, right? Come to a lower time frame, right? I actually might be able to see this as a retracement into a maybe not. But like the way I looked at this was like, hey, I have 15-minute money flow coming out. I'm expecting a trend to the downside. I am not FOMO shorting on this drop down. I am waiting for the retracement into the key level. And do I feel the emotion down here? Oh my God, I'm going to miss the short. Oh my God, I'm going to miss the short. I feel that emotion, guys. I'm like, oh man, I'm going to miss it. I'm going to miss it. But I don't act off of it. I wait for the retracement. And sure enough, you come up to the golden pocket. That's where I look to take my entry. And then we continue down. Was this a fair value gap? Potentially, right? Was that a break of structure and a retest of the fair value? I don't know his exact strategy, but, maybe, probably. I would argue very likely. Right. And, maybe this was a moving average. So that's why I don't really try to shove my strategy down people's throats. Right. I mean, I do. But if you use a different strategy and you're profitable, then do that, dude. Don't worry about what I'm doing. If you're making money doing what you're doing, you do that. That's what you should do. But yeah, a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll maybe see my strategy. Right. Then they'll see smart money concepts, and they're like, well, should I be looking at that? And other people are trading moving average crossover. Should I be doing that? What should I do? Right? You have to find what works best for you, right? And I'm not gonna lie, once in a while I will pop up Lux Algo real quick, and they actually do have a fair value gap indicator here on Price Actions Concepts. I do believe they have a free indicator as well that marks this out if you don't have the paid version. But if you mark out your fair value gaps, depending on what time frame you're looking at, come on. Okay, I guess we didn't have a fair value gap there, potentially. Maybe on the 1 minute, right? Depending on how you're looking at it. Actually, I'm not seeing any fair value gaps pop up here. What the heck is going on? I don't know why that's not working. Are they maybe not extended? Huh. Oh, no, there they are. Okay, so there's just none over here? Interesting. But there you go, right? It gives you the fair value gaps. And in my opinion, this is very similar to the Fibonacci retracements, right? So they would wait. Let me see if I can find a setup like that. You could even see here, big move up, retracement into the fair value gap, continuation, break of structure to the upside, right? But whether you're looking at that as a fair value gap or a golden pocket retracement, it's pretty much the same thing, in my opinion. Right? Not even in my opinion, it is, right? If you're looking at that as a fair value gap retest or a golden pocket retest, it's all the same thing, right? So yeah, it's all just the concepts, to be honest. But yeah, anyway, I'm getting onto a rant. Let's see. Piggin' and bongin'. Shout out to Andrew. Yeah, we are just kind of just farting sideways. Shout out to Dave Digital said fart is gonna rip. Dave, are you talking about the coin or are you talking about what's going on where you are right now? Let me know. Let's see. Shout out to Erica. Said, are you going to Vegas? I do believe we are going to Vegas. Shout out to Erica. Will you be there? If you see us in Vegas, guys, I believe we're going. As of right now, I think we're going. But yeah, if you see us out there, guys, please, for the love of God, come say what's up. It's my favorite part of doing this is meeting the CandleMafia in real life. And I love people who are like, guess my username. And I'm like, oh God, I have no idea. And I'm always wrong. And the way I picture people, they always look completely different. Pretty wild. Actually, Jessica, well, she has her profile picture as herself, so she was kind of predictable. But yeah. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Dave Digital said, I don't trade no stupid fart coin, but I love farting. IRL. Shout out to Dave Digital. Let's go. Dave had chili and broccoli for dinner. Oh, good Lord. Shout out to Jeremy. Said, I FOMO and hodl. It works every time. Shout out to Jeremy. Over a long enough period of time, I would argue that probably does work. It's okay to FOMO, I guess, if you hold long enough, right? You could have FOMO'd in at any Bitcoin all-time high. If you hold long enough, you wind up coming into profit. And, I would argue that, maybe not the best strategy, but if you really have a long enough time horizon, I would never recommend that, but that is factual. If you wait long enough, at least on Bitcoin, I would be careful with the altcoins unless they're super blue chip high cap. But yeah, for Bitcoin, I do think that is it's pretty true. I mean, you could have FOMO'd in the top of any bull market and you'd be up right now. If you FOMO'd at the top of 2021, FOMO'd at the top of 2018, 2017, you would be up 100%. That is facts. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat. Let's go. And Captain Kirk in the chat said, wish I could go to Vegas. That would be amazing. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Cap, are you working? What is the, tell us, what's the deal? What's the deal, Cap? Let's see. Welcome in, CandleMafia Mama. Thank you for being here. Let's see. Shout out to Jesse. Said, Billy, they don't listen to me. Make them listen, please. Smash that like button, guys. If you have not smashed that like button, don't do it for me. Don't do it for the YouTube channel. Do it for our boy, Uncle Jesse. I do not know how to say your last name, bro. Get look. Shout out to you, bro. But smash that like button. Respect the like police. Uncle Jesse, let's go. Doge to 30 cents. We're going to take a look at the altcoins, guys. If you want to see your favorite altcoin, go ahead and drop your alts in the chat right now. Rob the Crypto Stop, count up the votes, and let us know what we're looking at. Yeah, drop them in. We'll take a look at Ethereum. We'll take a look at Solana, and then we'll jump into the alts. Let's do like 3 requests, Rob. I just made cheesecake. Yo, shout out to All Is the End. Let's go. What kind of cheesecake? Was it New York cheesecake? That's the best kind. Let's see. All right, so I'll take a quick look at Ethereum, which obviously, actually, let me see here. Is this our? Oh, something went wrong. Trying to find our ETH chart here. Bada boom. All right, so yes, this is not 100% updated. I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's take a look at ETH. Yo, shout out to Nikki94 Boo. Thank you for the super chat. It took me this long to get this out. All right, but me and my girls used to drive to see Islip Bad Boys on the weekends from Riverhead. Sorry, super late. Random comment. Can you check out IOTA for me? Yo, shout out to Nikki94 Boo. Yo, that's hilarious. Going out to visit Islip Bad Boys. If you guys don't know, that is a part of Long Island. So is Riverhead. Yo, shout out to Nikki. I will try to take a look at IOTA for the I'll try to take a look at IOTA for the Islip guys. But yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. If you don't mind me asking, Nikki, how old are you? I'm trying to figure it out. Because I know a lot of people on Long Island. You might know them. But yeah, I'm not from Islip or Riverhead, but not too far away. Oh my God, that was horrible. Could not get my computer to work. Shout out to Nikki94 Boo. Well, you got it. You're up here. You're up here, Nikki. But that is hilarious. Did you ever wind up getting in trouble? I'm sure your parents were like, "Don't do that. Those boys are no good." But did you ever wind up getting yourself into bad bad trouble, or did it wind up being okay? Too old. Okay. Shout out to Nikki94 Boo. Let's see. What's your thoughts on Litecoin? We could try to take a look at Litecoin, no problemo. Soul, Render, Jasmine, IOTA. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Record-breaking time on my end, Rob. I think that's the first time I've ever gotten your, oh my God, I almost put him in timeout. We can't get Rob in timeout. Imagine we put Rob in timeout and we're just like, what happened to Rob? We would have no idea. We'd be like, oh my God, Rob left us. Oh God. No, nothing I couldn't handle. Shout out to Nikki. Yeah. Long Island girls are different. They can handle their own. That's for sure. Let's see. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on. Bad boy. Shout out to Wig589. But yeah, on Ethereum, guys, obviously, similar situation as yesterday. I mean, this is kind of is getting brutal again, guys. We go through this we talk about this all the time, right? Price ranges 80% of the time, right? Like, we just keep getting stuck in these boring situations. But obviously, guys, yesterday, we were looking at this as our next target, right? Like, we were looking for the move up into our value area low. I think we hit it during did we hit this? Oh, no, okay. So I was going to say, I thought we were there already, but, we came up, we rejected a 786, we came down, we looked for the continuation up based off of money flow with our next key target here at the value area low, and well, what do you know? We came up to that value area low at about 6:30 a.m., right? Coming up here. Oh, no, wait, hang on a second. We already rejected this yesterday. Is today Tuesday? Today's Tuesday. I said this already. So, yeah, we did come up here. I'm sorry. We did come up here. And we know the value area low is going to be resistance until proven otherwise, right? So, we could just continue. And I'm going to show you the local range I'm watching as well because we do have some local levels here. However, at the end of the day on the higher time frames, guys, taking a look at the daily time frame, right? Daily VWAP, super extended over the zero line. This has got to come back down at some point. I don't know when that's going to be, but our 2-day VWAP also pretty well above that zero line. Let's take a look at some of our lower time frames. 4-hour red dot has been rejected at the zero line. So, yeah, I mean, we know that value area low, although the doorway to higher prices is going to give us a bit of turbulence until we can get up there and flip it to support. Once we get above that level, $2,100 is still our big key level to call for a bigger move to the upside, potentially targeting that POC. Once we get above the value area low, based off the laws of the volume profile, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that POC at 2320. Simply put. Whoa, how did that get deleted? But we are also looking at some local mini volume profiles here, which gives you similar levels, right? Like we're kind of hitting this resistance level, which is what we looked at yesterday. Let me get rid of that extra box. And then, once we get up here, again, I want to be clear. The POC is sitting up here at 23.20, which is technically the next major target once we get above the value area low at 2100. However, just like on Bitcoin, we have to understand that we have local levels in between, which is where we are looking at this local range. So once we get above this level, right, $2,100, you're flipping the macro value area low to support / the local value area low to support. Once we hold above here, next likely place locally for price to go is going to be the local POC at 22.13. We hold above the macro value area low. The first target is 22.13. Get above that, we could push into the golden pocket, which would be the second major target and really the final target within the profile. Flip the value area low to support. Next likely place for price to go, POC. Flip the POC. Next likely place for price to go is the value area high. Once we break out of that value area high, we can then look for the move into the bigger level, which is the POC. But depending on if you're looking for the lower time frame trades or you're just kind of trying to understand where price is going over the long term, I would say if you're not worried about all the turbulence, flip this level. Could be noisy, could be confusing, but eventually we could look to open up that door to 23.20. If you're looking locally, value area low is sitting here at local value area low at 2,070. I would call it about 2,080. Get above that. POC sitting at 22.13 with the value area high sitting in confluence with our golden pocket at about 22.75. And if you look at it this way, you have your 786 golden pocket above. So macro target, would start at the golden pocket, right? Get above here, hit into that golden pocket, probably going to get some turbulence, get above that, POC, flip the POC, 786. But once you hold above that POC, get above the 786, that's where I think your bigger move comes up, right? If you break above this 786 in a big way, if you look at the VPVR, right, we'll just pull up the visible range volume profile. Let's look at the local volume here. Come on, VPVR. There we go. So get above the 786. Yeah, you do have some high volume nodes, but really that next key level comes in at these lows, which again is going to be another local value area, right? Value area low, shelf of volume. So once we get up here, look to push into the golden pocket POC 786. Flip that POC 786. You could look to shoot up towards about $2,600. That's kind of the roadmap I would be looking at in the long term. I'll even mark out this local value area low as an honorable mention, even though we're still kind of far away. Boom. Local value area low. Right? And I'll just take this off the chart just to clean things up. So those are some targets I'd be looking at to the upside. Flip the value area low. Look for the bigger move up between 22.46 and 23.82. Flip 23.82 at the 786. Look for the local value area low at about almost $2,600. Until then, I would expect, just like on Bitcoin, to bing bong around in this local range if we can get back in there, right? But it does look somewhat decent to get a push in there, right? Money flow coming up on the 6 hour. Money flow coming up on the 8 hour, right? If we can get that to continue, break above here, start bing-bonging around this range, start to break out of the 786, look for $2,600. Very simple. So that's what I would look at. I wouldn't say very simple, but as simple as that. As simple as it can be. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Trey Flip Jones. I assume you could do a Trey Flip. I used to skate, and by used to skate, I use skate as a very loose term. I could kickflip, and that's about it. I could drop in. I was never really a hardcore skater, but I will say a tray flip was my dream trick to land. I never got to do it. So shout out to Trey Flip Jones. Maybe he says I'm in Vegas, bro. Would love to meet you, my man. Shout out to Trey Flip. Hey, bro, we'll be out there. And I'll probably be posting on Twitter and Instagram, letting you guys know where we're at. But yeah, we'll be at the convention. So yeah, if you see us out there, you guys are going to be there. Let us know. Maybe we'll try to organize some kind of a meetup or something while we're out there if we can get enough people. But I'd love to meet you as well, bro. I'd love to meet you as well. Do a kickflip. Do a kickflip. Do the roar. Anyway, I don't think anyone's going to get that joke. But yeah, I don't know if I could still do a kickflip. I would be shocked if I could still do a kickflip. Shout out to Memosaurus. Said, thank you, Frankie. I've learned a ton from you over the past 2 years. Shout out to Memosaurus. Hey, bro, that's what we're here for. I love to hear it, bro. I love to hear it. I love to hear the Mafia making progress and making use of this free education. That's dope, my dude. Kick flips. Let's go. Shout out to Trey Flip. Yeah, I felt like I was like, you're legit. Shout out to Memasaurus. I appreciate you, bro. I'm just not trying to be anything I'm not, right? Like, yeah, I just come up here and do what I can to help educate the Mafia. And yeah, once you learn the TA and you start seeing it play out, you're like, wow, that Frankie Candles, man, like, he wasn't lying. He said we might come down if that money flow comes out. The money flow came out, we came down. Shout out to Memasaurus. I'm happy to hear that you're making progress, bro. And the fact that I'm able to help you out in any way is crazy to me. So shout out to you, bro. Shrek 3, I think. Shout out to DMB Smurf. That might be where it originated. I don't even know where the joke originated from, but that might be what it's from. I'm talking about a TikTok joke, but those people probably got it from TikTok, from Shrek. Solana. So let's take a look at Solana. Yeah, let's take a look at Solana real quick. We took a look at ETH. Let's jump into Solana real quick. So yeah, Solana, I mean, hey. I'll be honest. The volume profiles might put me out of a job, guys. Like, what have we been looking at on Solana? We got above the value area. We slipped down below. We got back above. Once you hold above this value area low, where's the next likely place for price to go for Solana? To the POC. Where's it at? The POC. Don't leave me, guys. When you start to master the volume profiles, do our education. Don't leave us. Don't leave us. Please, for the love of God. No, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I mean, very simply put, I hate to sound like a volume profile maxi, but hold value area low. POC is the next likely place for price to go. Ideal long entry would be below the value area. Excuse me, the deviation below the value area low, where we did have medium time frame bullish divergences. I think the 8 hour is really what we were looking at. Higher lows on our momentum waves, lower lows on our price action, deviation below the low. You're just looking to get accepted back in. Go to the POC. If we can hold above the POC, we might be able to see that push up towards that value area high at about $167. Are we going to get there tomorrow? Probably not. Are we going to get there the next day? Maybe. It's very hard to say like how fast that will play out, but based off the laws of the volume profile, if we could stay above that POC. Now remember, guys, the POC acts as a magnet for price, right? It is the areas where the highest volume was transacted, right? So like oftentimes you will get a push into the POC. Oh my God, we're losing it. Oh wait, no, we're back over. And then you go back down to the low, right? More often than not, you are expecting to hold above it and go to the value area high. Usually the full fill of the volume profile is the highest probability outcome. However, just understand, like, even when you do go to the value area high, like in this case, you deviate below the low. Look at that. You have bullish divergences again, right? Lower lows, higher lows. Money flow comes up. You flip the value area low to support. POC is the next stop. Flip the POC. Oh my God, value area high. Oh wait, hang on a second. We're coming back down. Oh, now we're stuck. Okay, never mind. We did wind up getting the full fill of the range, right? So you could just see how that does wind up being a journey. This is important to realize because even on Bitcoin, if we come on over to Bitcoin here, right, and we look at our local range, right? If we're looking at this and we're just like, hey, you know, it's nice that we have this local profile to look at, right? Hold the low, go to the POC, flip the POC, look for the high. But sometimes you get like a really confusing situation where you come play with the POC one more time before going to the high. But overall, more often than not, that full rotation of the profile does come in, even if you get a lot of turbulence. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here on Bitcoin. Same thing on Solana. What chart was I on? Good Lord, right here. Same thing here, right? Like you might bing bong around this POC, right? Definitely possible. Kind of get stuck up here, come back down, get back above, get back down. But once you are able to hold this as support, like the next level overall would be to look for the continuation up, like regardless of the turbulence that you see. Now, would I expect to fulfill the range here? I mean, listen, if we get a retracement on Bitcoin up to some of those higher levels, it would make a lot of sense. And if we pull our fib from this recent high all the way to the low here, you could see golden pocket 786. These will be the next targets to the upside, in my opinion, right? Could get some noise here. Let's check that 4 hour real quick. Yeah, 4 hour red dot printing. So you might get a little noise around the POC as it does act as a magnet. Once you hold it as support, golden pocket would be the next target to the upside. I'm not going to lie. Very often when we draw these targets, they do get hit sooner than later. But, you know, if we hold above that POC, next target would be sitting here between 153.54 and 156.54. And then once you get above that golden pocket, that's where you can look for the 786, which is confluent with your value area high. Right? So again, overall, I would expect this range to get respected, right? Get above the POC, look for the move to the high. If you're looking for the local levels, golden pocket, 786 would be the pit stops, in my opinion. Next target, golden pocket, flip that. That's your road to the value area high. So if you are going to get turbulence, maybe you get it from the POC. If you get to the golden pocket, you might get another push down, right? And then once you get above the golden pocket, I think it's probably very likely to get, I would say very likely to get to the value area high 786. So even if we just go for that local, I don't know if I would call this local, right? Everything's relevant, relative, I should say. But if we're going to go from this swing high to the swing low and you're just looking for some kind of a golden pocket 786 retracement, this would be that next big level of resistance I'd look for, right? And it is in confluence with the idea and the laws of the volume profile. And then we can look here for potential rejections, back into the range, come back down, look for the longs, come back up, look for the shorts. I don't think we'll range around for that long. That would be absolutely miserable. But that's just the general theory that I use to trade the profiles, right? We knew this level. We knew this volume profile was sitting below as Solana was sitting all the way up here, saying, hey, if we lose these lows, we're probably going to get what? Gravitated towards the previous area of balance, which was sitting right here. This is why I take the previous profiles and I do not pull them to current price, right? I have a previous area of balance here. I draw them out to the right because I know if we impulse or imbalance out of this fair value, right? Price has fair value up here. Once we impulse down or get imbalance to the downside, we look at the previous value area as the next likely place for price to get gravitated to. Price wants to seek fair value. Price searches for that fair value, right? So if we break down, we're like, oh my God, let's go back to fair value. We get a little support on the value area high, and we know once we get accepted in here, we're going to go to the POC, lose the POC, go to the low. We can then look for longs here, to the POC, back to the high, deviation, come back in, back to the POC, back to the low, deviation, bullish divergences, back into the value area low, back to the POC, back to the high. Question mark? Potentially. That is what we're going to be looking at. So yeah, that's just how I play it. So we'll see. And then naturally we would look for shorts up here. If we get above that 786, we could look if price imbalances out of this range. Where are we going to look? Say we start impulsing. We're going to look. It's going to very likely seek out that value area low at 190, 192, flip that level to support, and repeat the process all over, right? This is why we're able to make such accurate calls on this channel. This is why we're right more than we're wrong. This is why we make money trading. Right? It has a lot to do with the volume profiles. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into it. You have to understand the context. Money flow gives you a lot of context. So you have to understand market structure, all that stuff as well. But, just from a general perspective, guys, the volume profile trading is some of the simplest trading that you could possibly do, right? And I wouldn't even say it's simple. It's just like easy to understand, right? You have your value area, price ranges. You are trading the extremes. When you deviate above, that's expensive. You look for shorts back into the fair value. When you come below, you look for longs. As this is looked at as undervalued, you look to buy it back into the fair value. You could think of it like this, auction market theory, right? You can think of it like this. I always say this. If you have a product on sale, right? Let's say you go to the gas station. I always use the Red Bull example because I used to drink a lot of Red Bull. Not anymore. But let's say you have a Red Bull, right? And the Red Bull usually sells for $1, right? Let's say it usually sells between $1. Let's say it usually sells between like $1 and $2, right? And then price comes up, or we'll say price comes down, and all of a sudden it's down here, and now it's 50 cents. But you know that the fair value that it usually sells for, people usually pay $2, $1 or $2, right? And it's on sale for 50 cents. You're basically just saying, let me buy a bunch of the Red Bull at 50 cents and then wait for the demand to go back up where it normally costs $1, right? And then once it gets back into $1, you're going to sell it, right? So this is your Red Bull on sale. You're picking up your inventory at sale, or you can even think of it as like wholesale, right? Like I used to run an Amazon FBA business where I would buy products at a discount, right, or wholesale for cheap, and then I would put them on Amazon because they were selling for more on Amazon. So when I saw that Amazon was selling rubber gloves, I never sold rubber gloves, but we'll just say the rubber gloves sell for $1 a pair on Amazon, right? So I see on Amazon that the fair price is about $1, right? So when I could find those gloves for 50 cents or 25 cents, I would buy a bunch of them and then sell them at fair value, right? If the fair value is $1 and I could pick them up for 25 cents, I would buy them in bulk and then sell them at the fair value, right? And the volume profile is just letting you know what the relative fair value is, right? If Bitcoin has fair value in this range and it dips below, you just think of it very simply as this is on sale. I know for the past 5 minutes, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 months, whatever time frame you're looking at, if I know previously we found a lot of fair value within this range and I have it on sale, this is a cheap asset, and It's not that you're just guessing that it's going to go back up, right? If you have the bullish confirmations, if you know what bullish confirmations to look for down here that make it high probability that it's going to return back into the fair value, that's how we take the longs, right? This is undervalued. Only if we have the confirmation. So if it's on discount, right? Pretty much is, right? If it's on discount and it's typically has its fair value up here and we have bullish confirmations, that makes us think we're going to get a big bounce to the upside. We know that if it bounces, it's probably going to get accepted into this fair value and rotate the full range, rotate through the whole volume profile, right? So that's all we're doing. We're buying a cheap asset and we're bringing it back into, or we're letting it ride back into the expected fair value, which technically is the POC. That is the fairest price, right? It's the highest volume node. It's where the most volume was transacted. It's where the most interest in trading volume was, right? And that's why we use that as the take profit one, right? So it's like, oh, hey, it's discounted down here. Let me buy a bunch of that Bitcoin drink. Right? I know it usually sells up here for $1 or $2. I'm getting it down here for 15 cents. Let me buy a bunch of it and then just wait for it to go back into the fair value and then I'll sell it. Right? When I bought things on Amazon, it down here was like me going to the wholesaler, buying it for cheap, and then bringing the value back up was me going to Amazon. Right? It was selling for $2 on Amazon and I was buying it down here from the wholesaler for 50 cents. Right? And then I would bring it to Amazon and then offload, aka sell. So all we're doing is buying an undervalued asset. You're only trading the extremities of the extremes of the profile. So when you're down here, you're cheap. This is where you look for longs. If you can get the bullish confirmations, it's even better, right? I would only take this long if it's. You might say to yourself, well, Frankie, what happens if it comes down there? Can it just break down? Absolutely, 100%. But more often than not, if it's going to break down, it's going to be indicated by money flow. There's going to be things on the chart that is making you expect to move down. And very often, we are short from a high, from the last time it was at the value area high. Right? And in that case, it's like, hey, I'm not going to take the long here. I'm just going to hold the short and let it play out to a swing trade and turn that little single or double into a grand slam trade. But if we come down there and I've taken profit at the POC on a short, value area low, took profit on the short, and then we come down below the volume profile and we have bullish confirmations, maybe at that point I close the trade, the short in full, and I look to buy. I look to enter a long in anticipation of price going back to the regular value, right? Which is $1 or $2 for the Red Bull. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense for you guys. But, you know, if not, we show this every single day, not only on the live price action, but also with the trades as well. Bitcoin dumping. Shout out to who said it? Who said it? Who said it? Crypto Storm said Bitcoin's dumping. Let's take a look. Oh, my God. Oh, no, it's dumping. All right, nice little push to the downside. We're kind of just back down to where we were in the beginning of the stream. Oh, we got a little push up, another little push down. Nice. How's the short doing? Let's see. There we go. Short back up. Not too shabby. Come on, dump it here. Bring us down. Don't break the higher lows. But bring us down a little bit. Let's cash out a little bit more. Up about 1,000 on the short. Not too shab. Let's see. Shout out to My Passive Freedom, said here it's $3 to $4 a can. Yeah, shout out to My Passive. It's probably closer to that here as well. I'm actually out of the market. I don't even know how much a Red Bull is now. I never thought I'd say that. Shout out to the Dusty Hunt, says 64K needs to hold. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would say 68 is probably really important to hold as well, as it's the POC of our previous range. Let's see here. All right, so that was Solana. Took a look at Solana. We'll keep an eye on this. We'll keep an eye on this short as price action develops. But we took a look at Solana. We took a look at Ethereum. Let's take a look at Render. Let's take a look. Bada boom. Glad I took a TP. Shout out to Gen Z. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Taking that money off the table. I love it. Shout out to Lewis. Said, yo, Frankie, we need some more dirty talk. Never mind. Never mind. Shout out to Lewis. Come on, Bitcoin dump. You know, never mind. If Tony D is watching this right now, he's probably screaming. He knows what I want to do. But maybe we'll get a little more. Well, we'll have to wait for Frankie Candles After Dark. Shout out to Lewis. Z-Back, shout out to World War 208, said day 10 of asking Frankie to look at Z-Back. Will it happen? Shout out to World War. We'll try to take a look at Z-Back. It's like impossible to take a look at all of them, but we'll try. We might have to go into day 11, but shout out to World War. Dirty talk is crazy. Anyway, taking a look at Render. Let's take a look here. So yeah, Render very similar to Bitcoin, guys. retracing into its macro value area low, right? I'm not even going to cover like all the super local profiles, all the super local levels, right? I would say, in general, weekly green dot is printing. 10-hour money flow crossover is into the green. Red dot is about to print on the 10-hour. You're a little bit overbought. Could you get a cool off? Potentially, right? Does that mean that you're definitely not going to come back into this range? No, right? So overall, with that weekly green dot, if we can get that to confirm, I do think this move up could continue, right? If we can get above the 786 / value area low confluence, that would be a big deal, right? Once you get above that at about 433, I would call it, right? Flip that 786 to support, you could potentially get the bigger rip to the upside. Taking a look. Oh, man, I don't have this. Let me just pull this real quick. I don't have the actual profile on here. It got deleted. Somebody deleted it. Question is, where was it pulled from? Probably right before the breakdown, if I had to guess. Something like that. Maybe it was pulled here. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, we're approaching that key zone. Golden pocket, 786, value area low confluence. This is the big zone to get above. Get above that, we could potentially get a little bit of a bigger move up into our range. Now, if you look at our profile here, guys, you do have a little bit of a fall off in volume, right? If we pull up the VPVR, let's see. Yeah, if you pull up the VPVR, there is a little bit of a fall off in volume once you break these highs, right? You can see this in all of its glory. I'll even mark this out, right? Like really from the significant shelf to the, I would say the significant high volume node, right here is your LVG, your gap, right? So, last time we drew this on an altcoin, it was to the downside, and it was TIA, and it got absolutely decimated through the low volume gap. There's that box right here. We knew once we broke into here, we were going to get a quick move to the downside through the low volume gap, and we indeed got that massive fast drop down through the low volume gap. So keep that in mind when we're looking at render. So, if we look at this low volume gap, come on volume, print for us. There we go. You have a little bit of a high volume node at about 594. However, if we get above here, flip this to support, you could grind around a little bit. You got a little volume here. But once you start breaking, I would say 485 to about 495. Start breaking in here. You could get a quick move up to about 596. Get above that. Start to push up towards this bigger shelf of volume, right? There's your shelf, right? Volume comes out, that's your shelf. Volume comes out, this is your shelf, right? It's like a physical shelf, literally, right? If I had to mark out these shelves, that's a shelf, that's a shelf, that's a shelf, that's a shelf, right? So it's like when price runs into these, it typically bounces off those shelves. It's like a wall of volume, right? So if we break above, again, I would call it about $5, right? Rip above $5. You could get a quick move into your next high volume node, which probably sits between about $5.50 and I would say $6. Get above that, you could push up to about $6.50. And, that's in the long term just going to look like, a grind up towards your POC where you have another high volume node sitting between 714 and 760. Right, so visualizing that through a low volume gap is that's something that we could see happen, right? Quick moves up or quick moves down oftentimes lead to quick moves up. So I would not be surprised if you see a fill of that. And if I had to look at this, right, like, maybe you kind of come up here, you come retest, right, and then you come on. People are starting to call for the head and shoulders, right? They're like, oh, my God, head and shoulders, and then you get the push up. But really what we're doing is flipping the value area low. The way I look at the market, right, is flipping that value area low, which technically is here, right? Maybe you wick down, right? That's where people start, oh, my God, head and shoulders, push up, break through the volume, get the quicker move to the upside. But those are the high time frame levels that I'd be looking at. I mean, we're just tapping into that like really big level of resistance. If we cool off, I'll give you some key levels that we could retrace down to, potentially. There you go. Another example, quick move down, quick move up. If you do not have access to the VPVR, you could kind of mark out those low volume gaps like that. Quick move up, kind of highlight that, or quick move down, highlight that. You'll probably get a quick move through that level again. But if I had to look at this from a 4-hour time frame, I would be looking at it like this. Let me go ahead and hide. Actually, no, I'll just grab this, bring it in here, hide that. Okay, and then let's pull this range. neutral, POC value area low. So there you go. Resistance back in, right to the POC. You even got the reaction. Into the POC, flip the POC, back to the high, back to the POC, breakout. So some key levels that I would look at locally here for render. Let's pull our fib here real quick from the low to the high, right? So this value area high, golden pocket, looks pretty nice. And I would probably mark this down to about the 786. So if we do come back down, key support would be to hold on top of this fib level, put in another higher low, and then continue back to the upside. And then if you break down below that 786, POC is your next level at 374. Lose the POC. Again, quick move down from the POC to the low gives you a quick move up from the low to the POC. If we break down below this POC, probably going to get another quick move down to the value area low. So this is how I would look at it. Simply put. Watch this key level. This is sitting between 390 and 382. So there you go. Daggum, old render. Shout out to Memasaurus. Shout out to Crypto Pollo in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Shout out to all the farm animals out there. And shout out to Phoebe, the goat. But there we go. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. How you doing, bro? Good to see you. I made it. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. BTC loading. Yeah, shout out to Memasaurus. All right, so let's see. Next on the list, let's take a quick look at Jasmine. All right, let's see. Higher time frame. Do we have another Jasmine chart? This one looks old. Jasmine. All right, so I'm just going to start a new one. Start a new chart. So let's pull this range. Could actually probably pull this to current. Don't like it to current. Don't like it to current. Dang, I don't... Bear with me here, guys. Man, I just don't like the front run of that value area low like that. I'd probably prefer this range, to be honest. I typically would pull it to this candle, but I don't like the front run there. So we'll pull it at kind of the start of that. Yeah, I guess that works. All right, so let's see. And the nice thing about the volume profile, guys, is always like, you obviously want to be pulling it from the correct spots, but at the end of the day, they're like, regardless of where you pull this from, like if I even pulled this all the way down here, right, like doesn't even change the range that much, which is interesting. But you could see like the value area low moves down, but you could see it's still respected, right? Because it's the level is based off volume. So like I say this constantly. A lot of people ask me like, Frankie, how do you know where to pull the ranges? I just pull. I have ways that I look for that I like to pull them on the sideways price action, right, within ranges. But at the end of the day, if you pull this anywhere, right, like the levels are likely going to get respected that you're looking at, right? You can see here, you come up, value area high, value area high, value area high, value area high, flip it to support, big move up, right? Value area high, value area high, value area high, come up, flip it back to support, back in, back down, right? Because it's based off volume. They're not just like random lines on the chart. So, you know, a lot of people kind of get all caught up. And again, I have ways that I like to pull the profile specifically the way I like to look at them. But at the end of the day, there's really no wrong way to pull it, right? Because it's all based off volume. So anyway, that should give you peace of mind when you're pulling your profile. If you miss it by a candle or two, you know, sure, maybe if you were looking at your value area low like this, if you were waiting for a tap of the value area low for long, maybe you get the front run. But at the end of the day, like there's really no invalid way to pull them, in my opinion, right? Just because it's based off volume. But this is definitely what I would look at. Major profile sitting above. And you can always look at more than one profile, right? You can look at this one and the previous one. But this one's just more respected, in my opinion. Low, POC, high, deviation, back into the range, bearish retest, back to the POC, back to the high, back to the POC, back to the low, stuck on the low, right? Back to the low, just hung out down here, flip it the POC to support, value area high, deviation, back down, support, bearish retest, back into the range, bearish retest number 2, POC, lose the POC, go to the low. And your idea here, your thought, is you only want to be looking for shorts when you're overvalued. Only looking for longs when you're undervalued, right? Undervalued. So there you go. And here we are, right? But you're not going to come up every single time, right? It's very important to understand the context of things. because you need those confirmations, right? If there's no confirmations, there's probably going to be no return into the range. You have to know when you're more likely to continue down or when you're more likely to continue up, which is oftentimes signaled by money flow, right? You can see daily money flow crosses into the red right here. Come in, bearish retest, POC, value area low. You start to lose the low, money flows in the red, probably going to get a continuation down. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, I would hope, right, key level of resistance above, you probably have confluence here, if I had to guess, on the golden pocket value. Yep, perfect. Boom, right? So this is your resistance. Number one, you have your golden pocket value area low confluence sitting between 0.017 and 0.016. Call it 0.017 all the way to 0.018, right? Once we get above there, right? Like if we do continue a retracement here, I would look to push up in here. Going to be resistance until proven otherwise, but once you get up, you can look for that POC. Those are the key levels. Key resistance, value area low, golden pocket 786 confluence between 0.017 and 0.018. Flip that, POC at 2 cents. Flip that, value area high at 3 cents, right? And just look at the way it played out last time, right? And again, it's a little bit of a different situation, but you deviate, right? You actually had tiny little bullish divergence here, right? You get back into the range, POC, flip the POC back to the high, right? And it was a journey. You come up, retracement, 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 but you do get to the high. So understand it's a journey, but you got to get above this zone. That's your biggest key level of resistance on your journey to 2 cents, right? And I would be careful here of potential lower highs, right? So depending on what this looks like, if you come up, right, you could put a lower high and a lower low in. So you got to be careful here because it's a local Fibonacci retracement. But you do have, just to your bodies, you do have a bullish divergence. To your wicks, it's not there though, right? But you do have a daily bull div to your bodies, which could be nice for a continuation to the upside, targeting that golden pocket at 0.016. Are we going to see Jasmine at 0.016? Well, I would say that's probably the next target, right? And hopefully that, I almost said golden bull div. That daily bull div is able to bring you up there, hopefully. Yeah, 2-day green dot printing. Let's check our 90-minute money flow, right? 90-minute money flow coming up. This is not a bad sign with the green dot on the daily. It gives you that market cipher B 116 strategy with the daily green dot and then, in the 90-minute money flow crossover. Definitely something, yeah, I would watch that. If you're going to get the bigger move up, obviously the bigger target sits up there at between 0.017 and 0.018. That money flow crossover on the 90-minute, if we're going to get the bigger move, I would look for it on that 90-minute money flow crossover. That would be nice. So there you go. That's kind of what I would look for on Jasmine. Yeah, daily green dot. What's the weekly looking like? Yeah, weekly VWAP coming up. I mean, hopefully we could get a bounce on this stuff. We get these weekly green dots. I think the bigger retracement on a lot of this stuff is going to be likely. Doesn't mean alt season necessarily, right? A lot of people will say that. They're going to see like a lot of people will be like, Jasmine up 42% in the last week. Oh, my God. But that doesn't mean as much as just any old 42% pump, right? A 42% pump after a 80% decrease does not signal alt season, right? It signals a healthy retracement for a potential lower high and lower low. And I'm not guaranteeing that if you get a 42% rip into this level that you have to put in a lower high and a lower low, but that rip up here does not indicate that it's guaranteed alt season, right? It's very important to realize because a lot of people will see, big percentages and be like, oh my God, this is it, right? Alt season's incoming. But so many people have said that so many times and it just always up until this point has just been completely wrecked. So it's important to understand the market structure here, at least on the weekly here. Like you could put in lower highs, but hopefully it is the start of alt season. Hopefully we can rip up here, right? Flip the golden pocket 786 into the POC, flip the POC and go up to the high, and then break out of the high and go into all-time highs alt season, right? Hopefully that's the case. If that's the case, we'll be able to see that. But a 42% pump into a high probability area to put a lower high in is not the time to call for it, right? You could call for a move into the POC, etc., but you'd have to reassess the situation. Just that pump alone is not enough to be like, oh my God. So don't get fooled by that, right? Because a 42% pump feels really good, right? Everybody's all scared. Oh my God, everything's going to zero. Once you get that bigger pump, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm bullish again, right? But you just learn how to read the charts, and you won't have to rely on other people. You'll just be able to see okay, well, is this really something to write home about, or is this just some kind of a retracement, right? A lot of people thought this in the last cycle, right? Even on Bitcoin. Even here, right? When we have high time frame money flow coming to the downside, everybody's, oh my God, breakout. Oh my God, breakout. Now, are we looking at that as an opportunity? Absolutely. We have to keep that in mind because if it is going to break out, we want to be ready and we want to capitalize for the move up. Granted, we're usually long from the low of the range anyway. So by the time everyone's getting bullish, we're already looking to take profit on our long. But it's very important to understand, right? Because like you don't just want to just hope for a breakout, right? If it's not going to happen. You don't just want to hope for it for no reason because you have a bunch of green candles. All green candles are not created equal, right? If money flow is coming out like it was here, there is a high probability of a lower high and a lower low coming in. And I just cannot in good conscience come up here and just be like, oh my God, breakout, if I know that there's a high probability of a lower high coming in here and a lower low to break structure to the downside, right? And that is indicated by money flow coming out, right? So it is identifiable to a degree. It's never going to be an instant, like a perfect black or white signal, but it is there. A lot of people just be like, oh my God, guys, like, how could you not be bullish, right? We're up 25% in the past X days, right? The past month, whatever it is. Like, we're obviously going to break up. That's not how the market works, right? The market cares about structure, liquidity, buys and sells, right? Not just, oh my God, we went up for this long. So, just keep that in the back of your head if we are going to see a bigger pump to the upside, it's great. We're going to profit, but you don't want to get caught on the wrong side of the trades because I know a lot of people got caught on the wrong side of the trades up here. And we were not part of that group, right? Because we don't just blindly call for all-time highs. But probably would increase views a lot if I just was like shamelessly bullish all the time. I think even if I were wrong, if I just like, guys, we're definitely pumping, I think we still probably would get a ton of views. We should do an experiment. If I was just like blindly bullish, recklessly, we'd probably see a huge increase in views, which I don't really care about, right? I mean, I care about it, but it's not really my main focus. My main focus is that the Mafia makes money. So we probably would increase in views. And I'll be honest, probably a lot of people when we're wrong, because obviously if I was just hopelessly bullish and just like shamelessly bullish, every time we get a pullback, I would be wrong. I'd be like, guys, we're definitely going to pump up here. And then tomorrow if we pulled back, I could just be like, well, we're eventually going to pull back up here. And then we come down. Oh, my God, we're eventually going to pull back here. I don't even think people really get mad at this. All they want to hear is, oh, it'll go back up. That's all they want to hear. People want to hear what they want to believe, not the truth, right? Most people don't want to hear the truth. They just want to be told what they want to hear, right? But I just can't do that. Especially if I think it's going to come down. But that's how you make money, right? If you actually want to make money, you can pay attention to this stuff. But yeah. Let's see. Do it for one day. We'll all just be laughing. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. It's like we're nuking. It's like absolute bloodbath. And I'm like, guys, this is the bottom. We're going to pump. I'm just 100x longing, getting liquidated 7 times in stream. Let's see. Shout out to Wick 589 said if this was for views, Frankie would have converted to an XRP-centric channel a long time ago. XRPTA is like printing money, bonus points for conspiracies. Yo, shout out to Wick. Yeah, that's like the one thing I have. It's like, I don't know. Every time I have my targets for XRP, but it's like if we were gonna go to $10,000, like or 100, like whatever it is, all those crazy predictions on XRP, like why does it always have to be based off a conspiracy theory, right? Hopefully it's right. Trust me. I like myself a good conspiracy theory, especially if it ends up in me being a quadrillionaire. I'm all for that. But why is it always a conspiracy theory? Why isn't it always just like based off like a real thing? But yeah, I'm all for the conspiracy theories. I hope XRP goes to 10K. I pray. But yeah, that's why I always ask people. Like anytime that, someone brings up like a crazy XRP target, I try to understand. I'm like, please, I hope you know something I don't know. Because if you do, I'm on your side. I want this thing going to 10K too. So anytime someone's like, yeah, it's because of this and this and this, I'm like, explain it. Because I want to believe you. I'm like digging for a reason to believe it. But yeah, it's just always like, it's always just very conspiratorial. Shout out to Creighton C. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Did you just come in, Creighton? Why did I just see your name for the first time? Shout out to Premium Mindset said, hey, Frankie Candles, the value area high on BTC that you're waiting for is already hit on most charts. It's only on the Bybit chart that it's not hit. Shout out to Premium Mindset. Let me take a look at that. Because that is, do see that sometimes. You do see that sometimes. Let me just make sure that I have, let me just make sure that I have it pulled to the exact same place. I'm actually going to pull this up side by side. Get a little fancy. Look at that. Let's see here. Okay. So let's pull this same exact. Pull this up on the 4-hour. Let's see. So it is pulled from here to the current. Huh. Actually, hang on a second. February 24th. February 24th. It's actually, this value area high, at least on Binance, it is much further away. It's at like 90,100, which is where my previous profile is on this chart. Maybe not the perp chart? Let's see. Let's do the same thing here. Interesting. Yeah, it's not hit on the perp charts. It's hit on the spot charts. Interesting. What does the previous profile look like? It's probably still above. Yeah, 91K. About. Interesting. Yeah, I like to. That's interesting. It is tapped on the spot chart. Still, I mean, does it mean you can't deviate? That is interesting. That is interesting. I don't really trade based off the spot charts. I look at the charts on the perp charts. That is interesting, though. That is interesting. But it's not hit on the other perp charts either. It's not hit on the Binance perp charts. So, interesting. Definitely not, not nothing. I wouldn't say, like, I don't really have an answer. Like, I wish I had, like, that doesn't matter for this reason, or, it definitely matters because of this reason. It's interesting. Good to know. But, yeah, doesn't really... I would probably take this a little bit more into consideration if I wasn't already in a short. But yeah, you did tap this to the dollar. But because I'm in the long from the low and the short from the top, that if we don't come up here and deviate, I'm not really reliant on coming up here to catch the short because we're already short. So doesn't really affect my personal situation, but it is good to, thank you for pointing that out. That is worth noting. Interesting. But this happens a lot. I don't ever really look at the spot charts. I usually just stick to the perp charts. Could it mean something? Maybe. Yeah. I wish I had more to say about this. I just really don't have a... Yeah. Like, this probably happens all the time. I don't look at the spot charts that much. Also, the other thing, too, is... Sure, like, you do get the bounce off of the value area low sometimes, or the value area high. I do prefer to trade, if you have bearish confirmation into the value area high, this could be obviously a key level. It's not just the deviations. I do prefer a trade on the deviations rather than tapping. I mean, did you get any bearish confirmations here? Yeah, you got some 45-minute bear divs. And then you did reject the Golden Pocket 786. So, yeah, I would be actually taking this a little bit. I would have a different opinion on this if I was not already short from the high here. Because then I would be thinking, like, hey, maybe I should take a short here. But I'm already short from this high. So, interesting. And actually, the other interesting thing about this is that Golden Pocket is also confluent with that value area high, like, almost perfectly. And you could argue that you front ran the Golden Pocket, too. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. I wouldn't say, like, this doesn't matter at all and you shouldn't pay attention to this at all. It means nothing. I would never say that. But for me personally, I will stick to the perp chart just because that's how I trade. And yeah, it's I'm sure there are times where the perp chart gets front ran. I could guarantee this has happened, right? Perp chart gets front ran and it gets hit on a spot chart potentially. But at that point, it's just like I would just view that as like, all right, that value area high got front ran. What did we reject from? Sure, the rejection could be from that Binance spot chart value area high tap. But in my opinion, it's like I'm already short from the golden pocket tap, right? And on the Bybit chart, we did hit the golden pocket. So it's not like we're not looking at resistance here, which is why it doesn't really mean as much for me right now because we've already shorted the resistance. So if we don't come up to the value area high and it does reject that Binance value area high, it's totally fine because we're already short. And then these levels will be almost exactly the same as the spot chart as well. So yeah, but good spot. It is tapped. It is indeed tapped there. Exact same profile. So I forgot who said that. Shout out to you. Thank you for bringing that up. Yo, shout out to Edward. He said it would also more closely align with the golden pocket. I would assume. Shout out to Edward. That's funny. That's crazy. You probably said that before I even showed it. But yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Oh, Edward, were you the one that said it? I think you were the one that said it. But yeah, definitely interesting. Shout out to Dave Digital. Said, welcome, Toshi. Please don't start on the wrong foot. And still, thank you. Much love. Let's see. Okay, so let's continue on here. Let's take a look at IOTA. Let's take a look here. Ugh, it's kind of gross. But I will give you the levels. Let's take a look at Market Cipher real quick. Daily green dot is confirmed. Let's check some of these higher time frames. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day with the altcoins, guys, like a lot of these higher time frame green dots, not impossible to see little continuations to the upside here on these retracements, right? We don't have the bullish divergences. However, you do have momentum making a higher low. Yeah, we're not holding any significant. Yeah, we lost to that. Ugh. Let's see here. Let me take a look at the monthly. Monthly blood diamond. Is that the case? No. Okay, no monthly blood diamond. That's a good thing. But yeah, green dot looking to print on the weekly. 10-hour money flow. I'd say that's really your bullish hopium right there. Weekly green dot, 10-hour money flow crossover. Is it guaranteed to play out? No. If it plays out, could it be big? Yes. So I'll give you the key levels here. We'll come over to the daily. Yeah, I wish we had some cleaner ranges, but I will just pull them like this. Low, high, whoops. Value area low, POC, value area high. So yeah, until we get back up in this range, I mean, your hope here would be to get the continuation up. I mean, you do have some bull divs, right, on the higher time frames. You got your higher lows on your momentum waves, lower lows on your price action. Wiggle up here. Key level of resistance, in my opinion, 100% is going to be 24 to 23 cents. Flip that to support. Look for the push up into the value area high, right? Quick move down equals quick move up. Quick move up equals another, or quick move up and down equals another quick move up. So yeah, definitely a little bit of a lack of volume in this area. So once you flip this, you could start your journey up to that value area high. But like that's your next big key level of resistance. Until then, you might kind of grind around and hope that those bullish divergences kind of just continue the trend to the upside. And remember, 10-hour money flow, if this continues into the green, I would watch this. We spent a lot of time in the red, right? And you can see even these these money flow crossovers, like big move up. This one actually wound up giving you a move down initially, but you did put in a higher low and a higher high, right? So the trend did continue up. So your hope here would be 10-hour money flow continues into the green. You might chop around a little bit, right? But the idea here would be to flip this and come up here. Let's pull a fib. This is this little scam wick here. Yeah, no confluence there. Probably have some golden pocket 786 confluence at the high. So yeah, these are levels that I would look at on IOTA. Value area high, 31 cents. Confluent with the golden pocket. Value area low POC between 23 and 24 cents. Confluent. That's your doorway to higher prices. Flip that. Could be pushing up there. Key levels of support down below. Little bit stickier of a situation. Whoops. See this. Yeah, this is a little bit of a wonky level, but you could hold this support slightly. All right, you already came down, no POC tap. You tested the value area high. Yeah, I mean, I would argue this is respected, right? Last time we came down into it, it was indeed respected. For some reason, these value areas on IOTA love to hang out with the POC at the low. So, yeah, you can see, like, once we broke back in here, right, you come down to the value area high, you come back in, back to the POC, back to the high, back to the POC, back to the low, deviation, back into the range, back to the high, deviation, back into the range, back to the POC, back to the low, deviation, resistance on the POC value area low twice, and then finally we get back in, go to the value area high. So you could watch this as key resistance. You kind of got the breakout there, but I would just watch this. Value area high at 18 cents, POC at 14.93, and then your value area low at 14.46. So that is what I would look at as far as the key levels down below. Let me actually adjust that slightly. It doesn't really change the levels that much, but let me just make that a little more accurate. So there you go. If you continue down, I would right, I'm going to pull it from that low to the high. So if we cool off, you would hope, if you're going to continue the trend, right, you would hope that you'd hold that 786 value area high to continue the uptrend similar to Bitcoin. Come down, test the golden pocket 786 for the higher low and the higher high. So if that 10-hour money flow is going to continue up, it's okay to pull back a little bit. But I would hope to hold this key level of support, because if we hold that value area high 786 golden pocket, it keeps the open door for higher lows and higher highs to attack that higher target. But once you break down below the 786 value area low, might be able to start the bigger move down to the value area low. So there you go. So that's what I'd be looking at on IOTA. And I think, yeah, we're already over again. Oh, my God, guys. That's all the time. I keep going so over on time here today, guys. Or not today, but over the past couple of weeks. But we got to dive in depth, and we do look like we're frozen slightly here, which is interesting. Testing. Are we live? Let's see. Does anybody hear me? Can you see me? Okay, yes, we're live. All right, cool. Perfect. Thanks for the content, bro. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. No problemo, bro. I'm here to help you guys start actually making money, trading Bitcoin and altcoins, whether price is going up or down. Learning the skill of TA is the most rewarding and non-salary capping skill, highest income skill you could possibly learn, but it does take time. So if you tune in every weekday here, guys, we teach it for 5:45. We teach it for free every weekday here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to Dave Digital. Says, no refunds, Frankie Candles. You go over, we keep the change. Shout out to Dave Digital. Keep the change. And I don't think we hit 1,000 likes, but if we did, we would give away some more free crypto. But guys, with all that being said, altcoins, how dare you? Shout out to Tyler Durden. Doing it live, baby. Yes, everything clear. Thanks for the hangout, Frankie. Yeah, shout out to Memosaurus. Shout out to Creighton C. Shout out to Wick589, his wife. Wick's wife, Fine89. My Passive Income, One Hype Soul, Memosaurus. And we took a look at, okay, Z-Back. We're going to take a look at Z-Back tomorrow, guys. So day 11 of Asking Frankie Candles to look at Z-Back. We will look at it tomorrow. But yeah, that's what we're going to be looking at, guys. Tomorrow, thanks, Frankie and the mods. Yeah. Have a great night, guys. Go touch some grass. I'm going to go try to eat some food. And I don't know. Who am I kidding? I'm just going to keep staring at the charts. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Frank Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm going to get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
And don't forget, guys, Billy Goat Tales on X tonight, 9 p.m. Don't forget to check him out. The best Twitter space or X space. Or we could say Twitter space, right? I think we could say Twitter space. Go check him out. Billy Goat Tales on X, guys, 9 p.m. Go show some love. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out,